Look Outreach is underwritten by the generous support of Munter Enterprises. Family owned and operated since 1972, integrity is important, as our family name is on every project. Our word is our bond. Munter Enterprises. Just build it.
Welcome back, everyone. Well, anybody that tells you life is just a free ride is probably not telling you the truth. Life has its ups and downs, and depending on the circumstance, let's face it, we all hit bottom in different ways, and we try to pull ourselves back up again, and also in very different ways. Well, I became aware of an organization right here in the community that's really doing something to help people in recovery. And the co-founders of Freedom Machines are with me right now. This is Mike Romanowski. Welcome, Michael.
Hey, Jesse.
Chris Collins.
Hey.
Welcome.
Thank
Very
you.
nice to have you here. Little sidebar on Mike. Mike and I worked together a long time ago.
A long time ago.
Like 7
Galaxy
years ago.
far away.
A lot of water under the bridge since those days, Mike.
Hey, it's all good.
But Michael called me because he said, Jess, you know, we've got this group. Both he and Chris are recovering. And in doing so, realize that it's a lifelong pursuit, right?
Yeah.
And that also it's very important that people have ways to rebuild their confidence, rebuild their esteem. So you created Freedom Machines. Mike, I'm going to start with you. What is Freedom Machines?
Freedom Machines is a program that we created. It gives free bikes back to people who are suffering from addiction or in recovery.
Yes, sir.
There's no cost to them whatsoever. Chris and I designed the platform of the business, and we collect bikes, used bikes, and we give them to those in need. They require 90 days of sobriety to achieve a bike. They need to apply online, and that's it. It's really quite simple.
Now let's talk about the reason for that. You know, I mentioned in the opening there, Chris, one of the real, I think, key elements of recovery is rebuilding your self-confidence. So make that connection for me.
Well, I think bike riding was a big part of my recovery. You know, you start out hitting rock bottom, and riding a bike just started building confidence for me. You know, you start out riding 5 miles. You know, the next time you go out, you're maybe 6 miles, 10 miles. The next thing you know, you're riding every day. And you know, like I said, I can jump on my bike right now and ride 50, 60, 70 miles and not even think about it.
Well, those of us that need to follow him in a car, you know, that's what we need to do. Can't imagine bike riding 60, 70 miles. But, you know, there's a lot in what you just said. There's a lot between the lines. You know, when you think about how that's building your self-confidence, it's occupying your mind. It's giving you something positive to do, right?
It does. You get lost in the road.
Yes.
You know,
right.
I say, you know, after a stressful day of work or a stressful day of life, you know, jump on your bike and, you know, next thing you know, you look down, you're 50 miles away from home. You got to turn around and go back.
Yeah.
You know, and you haven't thought about whatever was stressing you out. And like I said, you get lost in the road. You know, you're going up through the Adirondacks, going up the mountains. It's a great stress relief.
Yeah, sure. You talk about stress, you know, part of recovery, Mike, we were talking before we started this interview, you know, it's important to have a support group. You know, that you don't feel you're alone out there. You said something to me that I thought was very interesting. You know, this whole idea that if you're either addicted or it's sobriety, when in fact it's addiction, or it might be connection.
Right.
So explain that to me.
So you know, we kind of feel that when you suffer from addiction, you're going through recovery, you get into legal trouble, whatever comes with that, you lose a lot of things, right?
Yes.
You lose your freedom, you lose your ability to go anywhere, you lose a license, a car, whatever the case may be, jobs. You know, this allows us to kind of provide some of that, some of the transportation. It allows us to provide freedom, you know, for lack of a better term. There's something more to it than just giving a bike, right? We connect that community.
Yes.
We have a community base of what, 400, 500 or so people following us.
Wow.
Yeah.
When we post, we get hits right and left. We get comments right and left. We've got all sorts of folks in the community helping us. The community has been such a supportive part of this. You know, it's not just us, it's everybody. You know, and that's something that we really wanted to bring home with Freedom Machines, and it's for everybody. It's for anybody who needs help.
Police departments, I guess, would have been helpful, wouldn't they?
The Glens Falls Police have donated bikes. Warren County Sheriffs, Cambridge, Greenwich Police Departments have all donated bikes to us. And I know Sheriff Lamery follows us. And,
yeah, great.
See,
Sean Lever.
See,
That's right. Yeah, sure.
to see what we're doing.
Yeah.
And I know I've seen him out, and he said he's got more bikes for us.
That's great.
So we're,
how many have you helped so far, Mike?
We're at about, what, 250?
about 250 bikes.
Oh, that's
to give
very
away.
impressive.
You know,
This
Jet-
is in a year's time, by the way.
It's
Right?
important to remember that we have the hundreds of people that have also donated out of their personal.
Yeah.
You know, they're opening the garage at the end of the spring or beginning of spring,
Yeah,
clean
right.
outs, and it's a community. It really is a community thing that's put us up to where we are and what we've done with inside just a year.
Now, Mike and Chris with Freedom Machines, they have a donated space down in South Glens Falls, so they're collecting bikes of all kinds. You know, you should contact them, make sure that, tell them what you've got, and they can tell you what the need is. But they're refurbishing these bikes and putting a lot of sweat and equity into this organization to help those. And the only requirement they're asking of somebody, whether it's an alcohol or an opioid addiction, is to be committed. You can't begin till you're ready to start. So you get into recovery, and here's a means to give you some practical means of getting around because you're not able to drive, but also that whole sense that now you have a new goal. You've set a new standard for yourself. And anybody will tell you who's in recovery that that's the most important thing, is setting new goals and new standards for yourself. So I really want to commend you. How can somebody get in touch, Mike?
Facebook's the best way to get a hold of us.
Okay, just Freedom Machines?
Freedom Machines NY. We're on Facebook all the time. Our response time is, I think Chris has it down to 2 minutes.
Oh,
But
you're doing better than we're doing, Chris.
We're very attuned to all that stuff, and like I said, we really got to give up to the community and the community leaders that have helped us get to where we are.
All right, so that's Facebook, Freedom Machines NY, correct?
That's correct.
Good, and get in there and find out what you can do. It's a healthy alternative to so many of the other things that are out there right now. It's one thing to give lip service to something like this. It's another thing to actually offer a support group with a means to exercise, get around, and start to get this past you, right? Great to see you, Michael.
Thanks, Jesse.
Great to see you, Chris. Thanks
Thank
very
you.
much for coming in.
Thank you.
To see this interview again, you can head to our website, looktvonline.com.